Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. In today's video we're going to continue doing a load of the jobs from the seemingly never-ending list of tasks we need to complete to get this Astra engine correctly installed and ready for its first fire up. If you're a new subscriber or a new viewer, don't forget to have a look back at the previous videos. There's a lot of information in there detailing how we got to this point and all the little jobs and bits and pieces we've done along the way. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's get on and have a look at today's video. Right, typical Englishman, always complain about the weather, but it has now started chucking it down. Had a few light spots and I carried on, and it's now chucking it down, so it's quite unpleasant to work out there. So I'm just taking a break in the garage for a minute. It looks like it might be a bit brighter out there. They're only forecasting showers, so hopefully it'll pass and we can crack on. In the meantime, what have I done since I was last on camera? Radiator packs back in, as you can see. I've connected all the air conditioning pipes up that end. We'll have to take a closer look at them in a little while. Put some new seals in there. All the wiring's on, so behind that is the so I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there we go, look at that, under the modern technology. So behind here, if I can point, where's my finger, is some sensors around the back of here. I've wired those up. Put the connector on the air conditioning pump, got it right first time this time. Gearbox plug, drain plugs all back in, all this radiator pack's all plumbed up again now. Didn't take me too long to do at all. So that's about where we are now. It's days like this when I wish I got a bigger garage to actually get in and work, but unfortunately I haven't. As you can see, it's still raining quite hard. There's quite a bit of a fine drizzle now, to be honest. The sun's coming out over that way somewhere, so hopefully it's going to dry up soon and we better get out and get some more done. Right, well, it's nearly stopped raining now. In fact, I think very, very fine. The sun's coming out there, a few dark clouds around, but hopefully it won't be much more. I thought what I'd do is, while we were sitting here waiting for the weather to clear up, is tip the old oil out of this filter, if there's much left in it, and just see what sort of condition it's in and tell us whether that's been serviced or not. I don't think there's a lot in here actually, to be honest. I think it's all drained out, so it might be a bit of a fail. There's a little bit coming out. Okay, so it is quite black and sludgy. It didn't look too bad when I took it out. Not too bad. I don't think. Just feeling it. There's no little bits of metal in it or anything, so it's difficult to tell such a small quantity. Let's take it out and just see if we can get a little bit more out of it. Let it drain for a minute or two. So I think the next job I'm going to do, which is sort of part of putting the drive shafts back that I said we'd done off our list, but we haven't really completed them. Because we've got all these suspension stuff to go back on. So we've got the bottom link to go on here, you can see that down there, bottom ball joint there, drop link and steering control arm, it's got to go in there, in that hole there. Same on the other side, so it's just a matter of putting them together and tightening it all up. So I'm going to do that, then we could put the wheels on. And possibly drop it down on the ground, to be honest. I think that might be a good idea. Then we'll be able to lock it up to get to that bolt in there. Up here is the one we've got to torque up. It's quite important because if that comes flying off, it could destroy your cam belt and cause a lot of damage and injure me if I'm under the bonnet at the time. So I need to remember to do that. So I think I'm going to get all this bolted on, get the wheels on, have a quick think and a quick check that everything under the car's done, then we can drop it down on the ground and get that bolt tightened up under there, torqued up. And then it's just a few little things to do inside here. So we need to change the cam cover, get the one off the old engine, put it on there. What I think I'm going to do is, obviously under here, down in those holes there are the spark plugs, and there's the coil pack to go on top of here. I think what I'm going to do is take each plug out. I did whip them out quickly the other day and just have a look. I should have done it then. They all look in reasonable condition, so I'm going to try running it with those to start with. So what I'm going to do is just squirt a tiny, if I can get down there, could use that older engine oil bottle really, couldn't I? Squirt a gearbox oil bottle rather. Squirt a tiny little bit of engine oil into each cylinder, just so it's not completely dry and start up. What we will be doing is I'll leave this, I'll put the coil in, the coil pack in, but I'll leave it disconnected so it doesn't fire up. And then we can, probably be a good idea to pull the fuel pump relay actually, because we don't want to be pumping neat fuel in, but we just turn it over a few times on the starter, get some oil through the engine, and then we'll be able to fire it up. But there's not really a lot to do under here, so like I said, air filter now, cam cover, so that pipe is the breather that goes on under there, on that pipe down there, the cam cover. Battery's got to go back in, everything else is done in here. The oil filter is part of the bit that goes on top of the throttle body there. Everything's pretty much connected up. Obviously put some oil in it would be a good idea. Yeah, just thinking about it actually, when we take this cam cover off, I think I'll put the oil in rather than put it in here. When this is off, is pour the oil in and then we'll pour it all over the cams. Cams will be lubricated. We won't need to pump too much round, a little bit down each cylinder. It's obviously going to smoke a bit when it starts up. But yeah, let's not talk about it anymore, let's crack on. I'm going to do these, like I said, do these steering arms. This is the other side, control rod, drop link, steering control arm and bottom ball joint. These haven't been disturbed, nor was the hub nut, we didn't disturb those. So let's crack on and get them done, put back in, tightened up, and another step closer to starting the engine. So I've put one side together, and now I'm going to do this side. So if we can see around the back here, I'm going to show you this and see it at the same time. Got to get this up in here, so I've put the jack there to jack it up, to push it up into that hole, the bottom ball joint. And as I jack it up, there's a little groove in the shaft of the ball joint itself that's got to align with the hole perfectly. If it doesn't, you can't get a bolt in. I've put a little bit of copper slip stuff on there, anti-seize compound, just to make it easier to get out in the future if we need to. So I'm just going to go jack that up a little bit. I'll see if I can hold this here. And I'll jack it up. So that's gone up a little bit. Trying to get it so we can see that little oh, it's already gone too far now. I think looking at it, it's probably about right. I'm going to try and put the bolt through now. So I've got the bolt here with a nut on the end of it. Okay, it's not quite going through, possibly because the ball joint isn't lined up, so you've gone through too much or not through enough, so the little groove isn't lined up with the hole. So I'm just going to have a look at that. So that's the nut on the back there, just, ooh, where are we, under there, hope you can see that alright. So the other thing that's got to go on is a drop link. So we can see that's got to go up a little bit to line up with that. So I'm going to jack from underneath here again, from here, Just put the jack back under the jacket a little bit to line that hole up and put the nut. Where's the nut for that? That's here, so the nut goes on there, and there is a flat. You can probably see on there, you can get a spanner on to hold this, stop it turning when you put the nut on. So that's the next job. So the last bit to go on with this is the steering control arm and that ball joint. So there's a little nut on the bottom of that, which I'm hopelessly failing to get in the shot. There it is. Get that off of there. You can see these are nearly brand new. Only put them on for the MOT back in June, was it, I think. So we just line that up, drop that in the hole. You don't want to hammer on them too hard, these things, if they're being reused like these are, because you can damage them. But I just give them, wherever the copper mallet is, just give it a light tap, just on top there. Just so the taper goes in nicely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this up by hand, because these have a tendency to spin in here, and once they start spinning there's no flats or anything in there to hold. Although actually I've got a feeling I think these ones might be well designed. Let me have a look. I think, yeah, I don't know if we can see that on camera. Where's the nut? Yeah, there. So that's actually got a hex key head in there, hex key hole, which you can put a socket or hex key in, ring spanner on the nut and do it up and hold the centre of that, which is really useful. A lot of them, the original ones, didn't have that on, so getting them undone can be a bit of a pain, but that's a really good design. They were only cheap. I think we spoke about them when I bought them. I think about £9 each or something, but that is a really good design feature. But we probably won't need that. We should be able to just wind that on by hand nice and tight, so I'm going to crack on and do that. Okay, so what I've done is I've put the wheels on both sides and I've jacked the car up, put a block of wood underneath it, and then just let it down on the axle stands again. So that's just nipping the wheels tight against the wood and the ground, stop them turning. I've pointed them over at an angle this way, so it gives me a bit more clearance to get up to the crankshaft pulley bolt, which is up there. So we'll have a go at torquing this up again now. Okay, well I've got the crankshaft bolt, pulley bolt tightened up. I've just taken the rocker cover off. That was just loosely fitted. You've seen inside here before. What I'm going to do when I fill it with oil, I'm going to pour it over the cams, because normally when you're putting in, you're just putting in up this end anyway. So I'm just going to gently pour it over the cams, make sure I don't get the spark plug holes filled up. Going to whip the plugs out, just squirt a little bit down there as well. Might do that first actually, just a tiny little bit, just so the cylinders have got something in. Turn the engine over by hand, and yeah, that'll just give it a little bit of lubrication. Obviously the cams will then be lubricated if we pour it over here. So it's a matter of putting a new gasket on the cam cover, which is down there. So I've got a new gasket for that to put on. Dipstick, I'm going to change that over, because that one's got this little loop broken off. It still pulls out, it's broken off. Might as well put the one off the other engine on there, just swap them over. Right, so I'll put some oil in the top of the engine, cover the cams with fresh engine oil, taking all the spark plugs out down there, and that's the plugs that came out of it. That end one is the one that had a load of water in the top of the cylinder head down there. They don't look too bad. I'm going to try them, see what happens. I've got the other set if I need to put them in. So what I'm going to do now, I've just done this little improvisation thing. Where is it? Out of an old oil bottle, I've made this little funnel that I can put, just fits in the spark plug hole. And what I'm going to do is just put a tiny little spot of engine oil, maybe a couple of tablespoons full down each cylinder, just to wet the top of the piston, and then we'll wind the engine over a few times by hand before we start it up, and that will just make sure the balls are lubricated and everything's not sitting totally dry. Give it the best chance it can, as we don't know how long this engine's been sitting. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just pour a little bit of engine oil in there, down each cylinder. Right, so I've dropped some oil in there. I've put all the spark plugs back in. I've now got this brand new gasket here that came screwed up like that, but I think it'll be alright. It's not one of like a metal gasket, it's just a rubber one, so it should be fine. Just going to replace that on there. That is a fairly new one on there, but I know how that leaked after a while, so I had to get another new one. So we'll stick a brand new one on, and hopefully that will seal. Get this rocker cover back on, and I think it's just fluids then, water and oil, and we're ready to try and give it a start. So let's see how we get on. Right, it's now starting to look like a complete engine. It's full of oil. Check the levels, topped it up through the filler cap, check the level with the dipstick. That's just over halfway. Top the water up, just put clear water in it, clean tap water in it for now. Just give it a little bit of flush through. Don't know what debris and rust and crap there might be inside there. And I didn't want any, if there was any leaks or anything, I'd rather leak out water rather than coolant, because coolant costs money and water's sort of free. So I've just topped it up with that, and I'll drain some of that off and put some antifreeze in there at some point fairly soon. Won't drive it with water in it, just run it up on the drive like this if it runs, of course. So there's just the air filter and stuff to go on. So I've got some pipe work here. So this bit here goes in, can't remember now, there somewhere like that, sits in there, so that's that bit. This bit here goes on there like that. Brand new filter there, won't put that on for a minute. This bit is the bit that goes on there. So I'm going to put all that together. We're very close to starting it up. It's about, I don't know what it is now, about 7 o'clock in the evening now, and I really don't know if I want to start it up tonight. I don't want to get stuck out here for hours tonight messing around with it and tinkering, so I think I'm going to leave that for another day. But I think it's just about ready to rock and roll. So let's get these air filters, all the air filter system put on. Right, so air filter system on. Airbox, brand new filter in there, pipe work at the front here. Obviously that's got to be fitted to the front panel, so I might take that off again. Well, I will have to take that off again to slot that in the front panel. Coolant, oil, like I've already said, ECU all connects up in the back there, wiring all done there, all the sensors all fixed up, bits of oil spilt everywhere. She's going to smoke a treat when we start it up. Coolant in, or water at the moment, but it will be proper coolant at some point soon. Just got to hook a battery up, or the battery, that's on charge. So I think I'm going to leave it there for this evening. It's getting a bit late, going to start losing the light very soon, and I don't want to start getting fluids leaking and stuff. Just going to make a note of those patches down there, because from where I've been topping things up and spilling bits and pieces. So make a note of those so we know there's no new puddles or anything there. We'll leave it overnight, let everything settle down, all the fluids run through and drip out if there's any slow leaks anywhere. I don't think there is, it looks pretty good at the minute, and we'll start it up very soon. So it's a good place to leave this video, I think. We've got quite a few more tasks completed. Getting ever closer to getting this engine finally installed and ready for firing up for the first time. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe down below. Keep safe and well, and I'll catch you in the next one.